doing this evening? Obviously, we've just witnessed the 2024 NFL Draft, where our guys are ready to talk about it. We were talking about it backstage. I had to cut them short because sometimes when you do this, you always get, I already talked about it. Don't want to talk about it anymore. That's why I had to shut them up and we had to get this show started. Let's bring their folks in. First, we're going to start with Jason because he's the one that led this thing off for today. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. Adam, I'm doing well, my friend. How you doing again, sir?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Didn't think I was going to be on screen on time today. Got out of work a little bit later than normal. Here we are. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Always a pleasure to be on the show, and I'm looking forward to talking ball with everybody else we have on here tonight. Let's get it going, man.
Right, let's go. Next, we're going to bring on Dylan, Florida sports guy. I'm sure he's going to be talking Jags tonight with us. Jay will be talking Green Bay probably. Dylan, How are you, sir?
Good guys. Done with stream for 2 nights and trying to figure out all the picks, all the undrafted players, and figuring out who's going to be the stud and who's going to be the dud of this year's draft class.
Sounds like that is your next show for the road. All right, next we're gonna bring on Jonathan. What's happening, Johnny?
Hey guys, how we doing? Happy Sunday night. Always a pleasure to be here. Let's talk about it, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. He's ready to go. Next, we have our good friend Ryan. Swear he's been here from the start. He was on the video intro. And what's up, Ryan?
Man, I have a weird feeling I'm going to be up here past my bedtime just from the pre-show conversation I have with these guys. There's a lot of good football talking going to be here, so I might be here past my bedtime, but we'll see.
It's all right. Then it's good conversation and everything else. Sometimes you go into work a little bit better in mood, especially on Monday. Monday's always
I'm leaving early tomorrow anyway, so.
Traveling for work or what?
No, it's my Dogs I Got You day, so I'm getting them a cake and we're going to celebrate.
Oh, nice.
All right, I guess I'll start around the room real quick. We don't have to break it all down, but Jason, who do you feel had the best draft?
Oh boy. Well, you know what? I was just applauding Ryan for his Philadelphia Eagles having an outstanding draft before we went on the air here. And when you take a look at how each team was supposed to address their needs going into the draft and then what they actually did, I thought the Eagles came out squeaky clean on this one. And I got to tell you, Ryan, the Eagles were one of the many teams that did a lot of swapping of late round picks there in this draft. And I thought that was brilliant by Philadelphia, moving up in the draft to get Cooper DeJean from Iowa. Gives them a good young defensive back to put in that backfield there, groom him along. But like I just mentioned to you before we came on the show, I know you're happy as a puppy with 2 Peters right now because they got Jeremiah Trotter Jr., so you like that. But I really felt that the Eagles did an outstanding job addressing the needs that they needed to address on their team. And I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but I thought the Minnesota Vikings actually did fairly well with their draft. Obviously, they got their guy in J.J. McCarthy. They have some young talent around him still with Justin Jefferson there. They brought over my former boy, Aaron Jones from Green Bay, to give them a veteran playmaker there in the backfield. So Minnesota, Philadelphia did very well. I even thought Jim Harbaugh had a pretty good draft with the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh has a history of kind of finding these diamonds in the rough and finding these under the radar guys and then developing them into all pros. So I thought he did a great job. I even thought to some extent the 49ers had a fairly good draft. John, you might disagree with me. Maybe you won't. But still, Philadelphia did well. The Chargers did well. Patriots, don't know what the hell they were doing. The Falcons, who cares? But yeah, and my Green Bay Packers, I was very, very happy with the job that Brian Gutekunst did.
Real quick, speaking of the Patriots, real quick, did anyone watch the Pat McAfee? I guess I don't know if he was on TV, but I saw he was on TikTok, and he had Bill Belichick there, and I thought that was pretty cool to watch.
That was amazing television. Belichick was amazing on TV.
That was
that was good stuff.
Away from the team, I really did. He knows his shit. Dylan, who do you think did the best draft?
There were 2 teams that I thought nailed the draft. One the Los Angeles Rams getting Jared Verse, the pass rush from Florida State. Finally, Sean McVay gets a first-round pick for the first time since the Millard Fillmore administration.
Wow, throwing in the Millard Fillmore toss. Way to go, Dylan.
And two, the Indianapolis Colts stole Leatu, the passers from UCLA, and Donnie Mitchell, the number one, the receiver you should have gotten from Texas.
John, how do you feel at the best draft?
So I got to agree with I got to go with like the room. I think the Eagles did a really good job of picking up what they needed on both sides of the ball. Definitely one of the top tier teams right now in the draft. It pains me to say this, but NFC West wise, I think the Cardinals did a great job with Harrison Jr. Also grabbing Elijah Jones as a corner too for the defense. I think they did a great job. And biasly, I think the Niners did a wonderful job getting what they need on offense and also on defense to sew up some of their line and some of their cornerback coverage as well.
Yeah.
Ryan, we already talked. Everyone's saying the Eagles. I'm sure you agree, obviously.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Vikings had a very good draft too. Look, I know a lot of people are like wishy-washy about J.J. McCarthy and what he did to help Michigan, and that it was all a run game and he didn't do anything. If you go back and you watch J.J. McCarthy's film, though, when asked to, this guy can make every throw on the football field. And if you watch him with the way he rolls out of the pocket, eyes constantly downfield, doesn't get flustered, has good mobility, like – he wasn't asked to do it all the time simply because they played dominant defense and had a great run game. But if you watch the times he was asked to, ball out, he can. He had shown flashes. And now he's going into the most quarterback-friendly offense with Kevin O'Connell, who will make anybody look good. He's got the best wide receiver in the NFL. He's got Jordan Addison, who just had 10 touchdowns as a rookie, and TJ Hockenson when he comes back from his injury. So he is very well set up to have a lot of success. And on top of that, they also drafted arguably, if not the best defensive front seven player in the draft in Dallas Turner. Yep. I mean, I think Minnesota set themselves up really nicely here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. As much as I hate to disagree, I have to agree.
I thought the Eagles, I thought the Packers had a good draft, Jay. I'm looking over what they got a lot of their needs taken care of.
Yeah, Yeah, Adam, I was very, very thrilled, and I gave thumbs up here, 2 thumbs up to Brian Gutekunst, because he basically went in and addressed, pretty much like the Eagles, went in and addressed their biggest areas of need. And, the Packers have never been an organization historically that have always gone after the flashy guy to begin with, like Caleb Williams. And I knew that wasn't going to happen here with them. But as much as I really wanted them to take Graham Barton in the first round as their offensive lineman, I got to say, I was satisfied with them drafting Jordan Morgan first in that round there out of Arizona. He's one of those under-the-radar guys that I mentioned that Jim Harbaugh likes. But when you look at Morgan, he is a massive, massive tackle. He's going to bring a lot of the bulk and a lot of the beef on that line that they're losing with David Bakhtiari, either retiring or going to another team there. I also like the drafting there of Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker out of Texas A&M. They took him with the 45th pick in round 2. Watch out for this guy, Edgerrin Cooper, with his speed and with his ability to tackle in the open field. Pair him together with Quay Walker. Those 2 guys are going to be able to make up for the loss of Devondre Campbell. And also, they still got Isaiah McDuffie there, too. So that's going to be a good trio of linebackers for a long time. And then scrolling down here as well, I like Javon Bullard out of Georgia. I thought he was a sneaky good pick. But this is the pick I also really like the most. I love them getting the offensive lineman Jacob Monk in the 5th round. Offensive lineman out of Duke. Here's the reason why. Versatility. Monk went back and forth at Duke from right tackle to guard to center, right tackle. He fits that perfect mold that Green Bay looks for in their offensive line which is versatility. I think his footwork needs to improve a little bit. I think he needs to improve on the pass blocking area of the whole scheme of things. But still, you're right, Adam. If I were to grade the Packers draft, I would give it a solid B. They addressed their needs. They got the guys they needed at the key positions. And I think Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur here have to feel pretty good about the haul they came out with here this 2024 draft.
Well, our 2 through 5 picks were correct, guys, on the in-house draft. I don't know if anyone paid attention to that or not, but
I sort of did.
we knew a little bit what we were talking about.
Did you guys see how that mentalist, I forget what his name is, he predicted all 13, like the first 13 picks of the NFL draft, got them like on the spot?
Wild.
I can't remember what his name is, but he's a mentalist, and they were talking about it, and he predicted before the draft all 13, the first 13 picks, and he got them all right.
I used to have a DraftKings account.
I need to have him on one of my basketball shows.
Wow, I did not see that.
I mean,
It was wild. It's wild.
let's talk about the elephant in the room, though. I mean, a lot of those picks you probably could have predicted, but Michael Penix at number 8 to the Falcons.
Who had the Falcons? Jamie had the Falcons with. I did. I had him taking DeJean. I did not have him taking Michael Penix.
Penix is very perplexing. I mean, I just don't see. I mean, I don't see the reasoning behind it that early. I just don't see it. I don't.
Would the Falcons say that was their best player on the draft board left, so they took him?
Yeah, I mean, that early is one thing, but to a team that just paid a bag to a quarterback, I mean.
Exactly.
Well, not just that, Ryan, but a team that paid a bag, 3 years, $100 million to a 33, 34-year-old quarterback coming off an ACL injury. Yeah, okay, roll the dice there, crapshoot, Falcons. And by the way, Adam, what they said about him, about Penix being the best player available at that spot on their draft board, that's bull crap. I'm not believing it. I'm not buying it. The Falcons could have easily taken somebody else that would have fit their needs somewhere else. I think what they were just trying to do was just be a bunch of punks. They just wanted to draft Penix for the hell of it so they could prevent anybody else from getting him. I agree with you guys. This is a major head scratcher, and I don't blame Kirk Cousins and his agent one bit for being a little sore under the collar on this one, because Cousins comes in, gets 3 years, $100 million. He's under the assumption, hey, I'm going to be the quarterback for the short term here right now. And then he sees them get Penix. It's like, guys, it's like you gave me the keys to a Porsche, but I'm driving off the car lot with a Ford Pinto. What's going on here?
No, actually, I actually like Atlanta's pick of taking Penix. I thought Atlanta made a very smart pick because there were 66 starting quarterbacks who started at least one game last year. We don't know how well Kirk Cousins will play coming off a torn Achilles.
And you shouldn't have paid him that bad.
Well, I mean, the Falcons didn't know they'd draft a quarterback at 8. And B, if you look at that division right now, the Atlanta Falcons should win the NFC South, knock on wood. What if Kirk Cousins went down an injury? Well, Michael Penix could step in and be ready to rumble. And
That was I'm with Dylan.
And if you look at it, and we saw the Broncos get out of Russell Wilson's contract before it even really started. If Kirk Cousins is just awful this year, the Atlanta Falcons could say, bye-bye, Cousins. We'll have Penix be our signal call for the next 10 years or whatever.
I wouldn't let him walk. You already owe him all that money. I would just let him hold the damn clipboard.
Yeah, that's a weird way to run
Better
business. Start signing guys and get a younger guy. If it doesn't work out, okay, get out of here. That's just a weird way to do things. I mean, honestly, that starts at the ownership down. I mean, let's sign this guy. Oh, we got a younger guy. Let's get him. That's kind of just not a good way to do things. And you referenced the Denver Broncos. Look at the shenanigans that put on the team and everyone else, and I'm sure in that locker room affected them as well. Like not knowing who's going to start and just all that stuff going on. It's just a weird way to do things. Of we got our guy. It's a maybe. We got the young guy. Oh, well, that's our backup plan. That's just, why would you do that? Because then the quarterback that you have under there, who you just paid the bag to, is not going to be 110%. I was looking over his shoulder wanting, the one time I have a bad game, this guy's coming in after me. I like it. It's almost like, if you guys have watched me get today, it's almost like that.
2 words. Carson Wentz.
Jason.
Ryan, that had to hurt, buddy.
Paid him money, drafted the quarterback, and he sucked.
Hey, Jason, you did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers in 2005 for Brett Favre and Jordan Love for Aaron Rodgers in 2020.
Yes.
Kind of. The only difference is Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love weren't 24 years old, about to sit behind quarterbacks for 3 years. We're talking about Michael Penix might be 27 when he gets his chance to start full time.
Michael Penix will be starting by this time next year.
And a little bit different with Aaron Rodgers getting drafted too, Dylan, is that when Aaron was drafted, I mean, Brett was already solidified as the starting quarterback in Green Bay, still well in his prime. So when he was drafted by the Packers, the organization clearly told Aaron, look, as long as Brett is still playing at a very high level, you're going to be holding the clipboard for us for a while. And when Aaron came out of Cal, he, as good a quarterback as he was in college, he wasn't an extremely heralded, high-ranked quarterback, which is why he fell so deep down in the first round to begin with. So Aaron had that expectation coming out of Cal that he was going to be riding the pine for a few years, learning behind Brett. And then subsequently, on the flip side of that coin, same thing with Jordan Love. When Jordan Love got drafted, they were up front with him. They said, look, Aaron is still playing at the top of his game. We want you to learn behind this guy for a few years, and then let's see what you can do. So, Dylan, I get what you're going, and I agree with your comparison there, but also kind of different in the fact that the organization was very transparent with both of those guys when they drafted them, letting them know, hey, we're bringing you in to be our guy of the future, just not right away, which is what makes the Penix situation a little bit different here.
Does anyone think they drafted Penix to try and get a trade for another first-round pick?
No, that'd be so stupid.
I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I just have to push back on the prediction you just had about Penix starting this time next year. So you're going to tell me if Cousins goes all the way, let's say it's an NFC Championship, it's not a Super Bowl. So he plays great, has awesome numbers. You're telling me in the offseason they're going to look at Cousins and go, sorry, buddy, you had a great year, but it's just Penix's time. So they're just going to seed him, get rid of the contract, and put Penix in. After Cousins has an amazing year. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Great. All right. So what do you do with Cousins? You just trade him out? You just let him go from his contract of all the money you owed him? You just let him go?
Bye-bye.
Hopefully you get a trade? Again, I'm just curious. I just want to know, like, I know the Penix starting next year. Like, if Cousins has his good year and he has that fire under his ass with Penix behind him and puts him a banner year, they don't get to the Super Bowl, but still has great numbers and goes out there and he's good like Kirk Cousins of old. You're telling me at the offseason, the owner goes down and goes, hey, man, listen, we got to put Penix in there, man. I'm sorry. So you're just going to hold the clipboard moving forward.
I mean, it would depend on how Penix looks in practice and what he does because, I mean, Atlanta's a great situation, great offensive line. London, Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and a great young offensive line, Zach Robinson. I don't think the Falcons drafted Penix to sit for 2-3 years.
Fair.
Yeah, actually, I think that's exactly how long he sits because the Falcons have an out 2 years from now in Kirk Cousins' contract where they would owe him $32 million. And if you make it a post-June 1st cut, obviously you can split it up amongst 2 seasons. At which point in time, 2 years from now, $16 million a year apiece is nothing. So I think that's exactly how long Penix sits. Now, if you're thinking about it in the long term, right, Michael Penix in his third year is going to have a Bijan Robinson, a paid Kyle Pitts, and a paid Drake London, and maybe another wide receiver on that field as well. So he's arguably walking into one of the best situations possible. It's just going to take a few years to get there.
I'm not so sure about Kyle Pitts, though, Ryan. I mean, it seems like the Falcons have soured on him a little bit. What do you think?
I think Arthur Smith soured on him a little bit, but he ain't there anymore.
True. Good point. Adam, how'd you feel about your Steelers, buddy? I thought the Steelers actually, B-C on their draft. What'd you think about Pittsburgh? Is he even listening to me? No, I don't think he is.
Who, me?
No, the other Adam. Yes, you.
The second Adam in the group.
Sorry, I was trying to read about the Falcons wide receiver they drafted, Casey Washington.
Sorry.
He is 6'1". I thought you guys. Well, whenever you click on the guy, the draft pick comes up. I thought you guys could hear that.
Nope.
Anyway, what was your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to find out what you felt about Pittsburgh's draft, man. You feel good about it?
I do. I wasn't sure. Obviously you guys know I wanted to get Power Johnson. I did not look at any other centers. This kid out of Morgantown came up, and first words out of his mouth were, "I have a lot on my shoulders because this team produces Hall of Fame centers," and that just told me that this kid's going to be prepared, mentally ready to go. And that got me feeling a little bit better about that pick. Obviously, like I said on our draft, guys, I had us taking Power Johnson as the 20th pick. Obviously, it didn't happen. They ended up going with Fatima, which still wasn't a bad pick, obviously. They got a lot of guys that apparently either their first words out of their mouth were, "Hey, I grew up following this team," like Watts, he's like, "I just get to change my uniform and that's it." Sam Kellers, I'm used to wearing the black and gold already, playing for Iowa. Very excited. So I mean, we'll see. I'm excited. I felt it was probably one of their better, well-rounded drafts. We still didn't address the wide receiver situation. They did get a pretty good slot receivers.
Roman Wilson's sneaky good, man.
Doesn't matter. We have Von Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and oh my God, Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson's a Panther.
I mean, oh my gosh, George Pickens. Sorry. Oh man.
I'd be looking. I was like, "What happened?"
I will say one of the more underrated moves of the draft came a few hours before the first pick, when Howie Roseman extended A.J. Brown 3 years, $96 million. And I say that because A.J. Brown wasn't due for an extension until 2026. However, locking him up at $32 million a year before Jefferson, Chase, and Lamb all get paid means we just got A.J. Brown through 2029 at a really cheap number compared to what that market's about to be.
Especially with this new hip. They just love throwing penalties with this defense. I think, and I think these wide receivers are going to go ballistic. I just do.
Yeah, so Smith and Brown are in Philadelphia through 2029 at an average of $57 million a year.
What do you guys think of the Cowboys draft?
Shit.
What was the question, Dylan?
What do you guys think of the Cowboys drafting all season? Because I can't figure it out.
It was confusing that they didn't take a running back. Although I did see a report that they were in Zeke's camp before the draft. I haven't heard of anything since then. But they did address their offensive line.
I wasn't the only one that heard that. All right.
I was hearing that Zeke went there to visit with him, and I guarantee you, Zeke's probably going to sign back there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who are they going to trust? Malik Davis?
Yeah. No.
I have Vaughn. Ryan, I don't know. I took over that team. This kid had all the backups to the backup.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. They addressed their offensive line needs and then over addressed them, but they built in the trenches. So I think they had a fine draft. I just don't think they addressed their glaringly obvious need at running back, unless Malik Davis really is like that. But I don't think so.
They signed Royce Freeman too, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
And then they had Doolittle, right?
Deuce Vaughn.
And Vaughn. They had Doolittle, right? What the hell's the guy's name?
Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
Doolittle, is that his name?
Dowdle. Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, this guy, the team I took over, Ryan, like I just said. I didn't realize it, but I have Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, I have Doolittle and Vaughn. And this kid just had backup the backup, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, if he's got the Cowboys backups, they're all starters now.
Right. I don't know. I didn't really. I don't really pay attention to the Cowgirls. Sorry.
A lot of us don't.
I just know I didn't understand their draft at all. They needed to
They're
run
America's team. How could you not pay attention to them?
because I have the world team. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I'm stuttering like a buffoon. I didn't pay attention to the Cowboys at all.
Man,
I mean,
you know who else had a really interesting draft? The Buffalo Bills.
That was a wild. Those were some wild picks with the Bills, man. Like, Rhyme or
Here's
reason.
Kansas City. Here's the keys to a Ferrari.
yo,
Oh, by the way, a Ferrari that we
Guys,
need.
guys, let me tell you a little something about the guy that they could have had that they missed out on there, Xavier Worthy. He played here locally in Fresno at Central High School. I had a chance to see that kid play, and let me tell you, Buffalo, boy, Josh Allen would have loved Xavier Worthy had Brandon Beane actually done a good enough job to actually keep that pick and not trade out of it and draft him. Xavier Worthy, the hype is real, guys. This guy is like a gazelle in the open field, but not only that, Xavier is a good kid. He has a good head on his shoulders. He does a lot of community work here in Fresno, California. He does a lot of charitable work with the Central High that he his alma mater, Central High. He's just a good kid. He has a good head on his shoulders. But with all that talent, let me tell you, Patrick Mahomes should be doing cartwheels right now because he's going to love Xavier Worthy. And all of a sudden now, depending on what happens with Rasheen Rice's situation in the offseason, with him and Rasheen Rice, they got a lot more speed in that receiving core for Patrick Mahomes to work with there.
Don't
But
forget about Hollywood Brown's 4.2740. He's there too.
right, honorable mention, Ryan. Yeah, thank you very much. But yeah, guys, I was just like you. I was shaking my head trying to figure out what Brandon Beane was doing with the Bills. I'm like, are you bleeping kidding me? Xavier Worthy falls in your lap, and you give that pick to Kansas City? You've got to be kidding me. Andy Reid right now, and Andy Reid's got to be feeling like a kid in a candy store and say to himself, Brandon Beane, what the hell are you doing?
And anybody who says Xavier Worthy is just a speed burner did
No.
not watch Xavier Worthy run one single route at Texas. All they saw
More than
was the
that.
40 at the combine, and we're like, yep, that's all this guy can do. You
No.
don't get 1,000 yards receiving 3 straight years with mediocre quarterback play at
Agreed.
Texas
Agreed.
without being a good route runner.
He can actually catch the football too. So yeah,
Was he the one in the combine that thought the event was over and they threw him another ball and he just caught it and then he had 2?
yeah, I think
No.
so.
That
No,
was
I know who you're talking about. No,
I thought that was him.
that was a
Yeah.
sick, nasty catch though.
So there's a hopefully Van Brand Granger. Hopefully his shoulders are wide enough to fit his name across his whole fucking back. Center they drafted from Georgia.
Oh,
We're talking
Cedric.
about the Bills still.
Oh, Cedric Van Pran Granger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the big name.
Yeah, I'm looking at Buffalo's draft picks right now, and honestly, guys, I mean, they're all a crapshoot. Roll of the dice as far as what they're going to be and what their potential is. So yeah, who knows what Buffalo was doing.
What's everybody think of Bo Nix at number 12?
I'm sorry.
Starting Denver week one.
Just curious. Hold on, real quick. Where did Travis Clayton come from? Did he not come from a college? Pick number 221 for the Bills. Doesn't even have a college back next to his name.
I don't even know who that is.
I never heard of him.
Let's see. I was just curious. I didn't know how much you guys paid attention to this thing. He's 6'7", 301 pounds.
who is it?
Whoop! I'm assuming this is a tackle.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a rugby player.
He was a rugby player.
Yeah, I was about to
That
say
makes-
probably
that
why he
makes
doesn't have a
sense.
college next to him.
English offensive line prospect whose experience in rugby shows up straight line speed and athleticism.
There's a serious hard on for rugby players right now in the NFL, man.
Everybody thinks they got the next Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
Listen,
we're
Buffalo Bills are going to be.
If that's where I heard the conversation going before I wanted to see about this place.
They have Bo Nix at 12. Seems to be an interesting one, too.
What team to get to?
They'll say you should have went to the Rams. I'm telling you.
Is that where you went?
Well, they got Stetson, lay off the Sauce Bennett.
Yeah. Literally, almost all the picks that we picked in the pre-draft, we had this show. Like they all went like one before they were supposed to go. I was like, really?
Yep.
Guys? Okay, really, guys? Really?
Yeah, I was so
like Malik went number 6. I was like, damn it, you could have fallen to the Titans. Like, really?
I was so disappointed Brock Bowers went to Vegas. Not for Brock Bowers, but because me being a Notre Dame fan, I had such high hopes for Michael Mayer, and all of it's gone.
Denver.
In my pre-draft pick, I had Brock Bowers being selected by the Bears, Ryan. I thought he was going to go that high. Shows what I know.
I think they're okay with Kmet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the Jets were going to take him, and they were just going to like stack weapons for Rodgers.
True. And they have a history of taking tight ends high in the draft, i.e. Anthony Becht.
Ooh.
How about Kyle Brady?
Yeah, Kyle Brady, too, out of Penn State. That's right. I'm going way back there, guys. Sorry about that.
That's a throwback.
Names I haven't heard in a long time.
Well, Dustin Keller, first-round pick.
John, obviously I don't talk a lot of 49ers for a very good reason because I'm a Packers fan, but I got to tell you what, I really thought John Lynch and his staff did a great job selecting Dominic Pooney, the offensive tackle, in round 3 there at Kansas. Kansas was a sneaky good team this year, and Pooney, from what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's been individually coached by Joe Staley, hasn't he?
That's correct. And also, too, he's one of the few offensive linemen that have played multiple positions. And coming into the draft, they're one of the guys who haven't allowed a sack from them out of the past like 2 or 3 seasons. So it's a great pick. Him along with Jarrett Kingston as well. Those are 2 linemen I think are amazing picks from Lynch and from Shanahan as well.
Yeah.
The Niners made another great pick, too, and I was hoping for fantasy reasons this guy would have landed somewhere else. But Jacob Cowing, he's small, but man, that guy's got hands and he runs really crisp routes. Like he just like reeked of this year's Tank Dell, and then he ended up going to the 49ers where he's obviously going to be like the 7th option.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I wouldn't put him at 7th. I wouldn't count him out that much. Shanahan likes to integrate guys a lot in 2-3 downs. Him and Purcell.
A punt returner, John, kick returner, because Ray's gone.
What was that? I'm sorry, I apologize. What was that?
Didn't they draft him more as a kick returner?
So if anything, Purcell is more of your Purcell is more of your punt returner. Out of the 2 of them, out of him and Cowing. Cowing will more so you'll probably see him more line up on the line than you will see Purcell will be more of your punt returner because he had more experience with that in Florida than out of the 2. So
Dylan, how do you feel about the Jaguars draft, man? You impressed or a little bit left to be desired there?
I mean, I knew the Jags would either go wide receiver or corner, and the wide receiver everybody kept telling me the Jags would be Brian Thomas. I mean, at first I'm like, why aren't we taking corner? But the more and more I think about it, the Jags need a number 1 receiver. I think Brian Thomas has got Brandon Ayuk ability. He'll just cost $50 million and cheaper. And last year, Calvin Ridley was a little hot and cold. I mean, every time it seemed like Calvin Ridley could make a play, it was like, oh, not quite. Maybe Brian Thomas in a year or 2, particularly with Kirk, Ingram, if Gabriel Davis could show up every once in a while, right?
I'm curious as to how Doug Peterson plans on using him, because if you watch Brian Thomas's film, obviously fantastic athlete, right? 4'3", 340, great hands, big threat down the field. Every route, a stop route, an out route, a go route. That is it. If you watch his film and his routes that he ran at LSU, it was not a wide route tree at all. So I am very curious as to how Doug Peterson and Press Taylor plan on using him, because obviously he has athletic abilities. It's just for years he wasn't asked to. I didn't see a single in route. I didn't see a slant. I didn't see nothing from Brian Thomas outside of those 3 routes.
Yeah, because all I saw of him was 3-2 running a 9 round.
All I ever heard was neighbors. Anyone care about is anyone excited about the Caleb Williams pick? Anyone?
No,
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
no,
Well, I mean, the Packers fans shouldn't be.
no. Well, no, Ryan, that's not the reason why I'm not excited about Caleb Williams. Here's why I'm not excited about Caleb Williams.
Let's go Ryan in real quick. Ryan,
Sure.
just to let you know, John had the first pick overall in our mock draft. And John, you took who?
JJ McCarthy.
With the Bears at the number 1 pick. I
Interesting.
completely agree.
I'm telling you, man, this kid, the Pats missed out on it by going with Maine. I'm telling you, we already talked about him about 15 minutes ago. The kid is stellar. He's going to be great in the NFL. He's going to be a great passer. And I think he just got overlooked by a lot of teams. He's going to prove a lot of guys wrong. If I'm him, I have a chip on my shoulder, and he's going to be amazing come 2-3 years down the road. We're sitting here talking about him.
I was excited. I am not a Caleb Williams fan. Nothing against the kid. I don't know. I really paid attention to him this year in college, and I was like, I really don't see anything special about this kid.
I saw a ton of Caleb Williams at USC, and he looked like Aaron Rodgers 2.0. The athleticism, all the strength, ability to make off-balance throws. Caleb Williams is Aaron Rodgers 2.0. Jason,
Not
you
consistent.
know it.
Not
You
consistent.
know it because you saw Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Caleb Williams is Aaron Rodgers 2.0. He will be Chicago's first 4,000-yard passer.
No way.
Guys, this is the reason why I'm not too hyped on Caleb Williams right now.
No way.
It's not because I don't think he has talent. He obviously does have talent. Here's the reason why I'm not too high on Caleb Williams. In the weeks and months leading up to the draft, this guy was a clown in every single interview he was giving, saying that he wanted part ownership of any team that drafted him. His dad was saying he wanted this, he wanted that. The guy has some character issues. He has some maturity issues. He has a lot of growing up to do. And here's the problem, okay? He played on an extremely overrated team at USC this year. And yes, John, Dylan, you guys are right. The talent is there. That's not what I'm debating. The problem is what's going to happen when Chicago loses 3 games this season or 4 games this season, when they get pulverized by other teams just because they're young and inexperienced. I saw plenty of him at USC living out here in California to tell you. One shocking moment stood out to me where USC was getting their butts waxed by Oregon or somebody else. I forgot who they played. And Caleb Williams is over there sulking on the bench with a towel over his head and visually crying. Now, look, I played sports before. I'm as much a competitor as anybody else. I understand we all hate losing. And when guys lose, they deal with it in different ways. But there are other red flags to me that just flash out about Caleb Williams that I don't like. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how much talent the guy has. Up here, if he can't grow up quick and if he can't shelve his ego for the 1 second, please, if he can't shelve his ego for the better of the team to develop and become better, then he is not going to amount to anything. And do I need to reference Jamarcus Russell? Do I need to reference Jeff George? Do I need to reference all these other guys who came out of college with big arms and big expectations, and they flamed out because they were more concerned about driving Porsches and getting Playboy centerfolds in their living rooms? That's what Caleb Williams is right now. Again, he's talented. It's what's up here that he doesn't have that I don't agree with, and that's why I'm not sold on him. Sorry.
I thought the Bears made the most of their 5 choices, except for the first pick overall. I did like the Odunze pick. I felt that he was one of the top receivers in this class, maybe even number behind. I mean, I felt he was up there. I don't know. I mean, obviously the name Marvin Harrison Jr. carried a lot of weight behind it, but a lot of people were also saying Odunze might have been better.
I think Odunze's in an interesting spot, right? Because when you think about it, you know, on the surface, he's blocked by Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. So he may have a Jackson Smith and Jigba type entrance to the NFL where he doesn't make the immediate impact on the score sheet. However, if you think about the skill set that Rome Odunze has and that DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have, those are two guys that do two very different things from what Rome Odunze does. And that provides him the opportunity to learn behind, you know, an elite route runner like a Keenan Allen or somebody who separates well like a DJ Moore. I think Odunze, you know, year 2, year 3, I mean, as they move on to, you know, as they move on past Keenan Allen, he's in a good spot.
Right. What about the Bungles, guys? Anyone?
It was a little surprising to me the Bengals took a big developmental tackle from Georgia with only 8 career starts. I mean, I thought the Bengals would have gone maybe a receiver, corner, pass rusher, or maybe the tackle from Washington.
I didn't really pay attention to the Bengals. I got to put up. Anyone else?
Nah, not impressed. Looking at the Bengals draft, C- at best. That's just my opinion. Honestly, I think they're more concerned about how they're going to handle T. Higgins than they were with their draft. That's just me.
Not a bad take.
Right.
T. Higgins is in an interesting position. Him, Brandon Ayuk. It's going to be interesting how those guys are handled.
Yep.
Yeah. Agreed.
Completely agree. Completely. I know Ryan's going to get off of here. 5 a.m. comes awfully early. I know that.
I got to go too.
Who?
I got to leave too, guys. I'm sorry.
We're good. We can end it. All right, real quick. Were there any surprises?
Penix, Bowers landing spot.
Back-to-back tight ends in the first round for the Raiders.
Mayer was a second rounder, 35th overall, right behind Laporta.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Weird.
I agree with Ryan. Biggest surprise, Michael Penix. Not surprised, Patriots took Drake May. And, yeah, that pretty much agree with Ryan. Penix, the big surprise there.
Right. Ryan, how people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at BSing_sports. Handle is right down there. We're on YouTube every Saturday talking baseball. First pitch 105 for that show. Bill's been beating me up in the games a little bit recently, but hopefully I rebound this coming weekend.
Well, Ryan, you know it's always fun catching up with you. Always fun doing a show.
Likewise, Adam.
I know this was very last minute, and I thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Alrighty. Jason,
Yes.
how people get a hold of you?
Well, you guys can get hold of me on X as well. You can follow me there at where my long finger is pointing there at Dodger Jason. Feel free to follow, interact with me. Let's talk ball or something else. But again, thanks for having me on the show, Adam. It's always a pleasure. John, pleasure talking ball with you again, sir. And Dylan, same with you. Always a pleasure as well, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll catch up.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks, Adam.
All right, buddy.